Horror used to be the easy genre. Cheap jump scares, loud noises, forgettable stories. But in the 2020s, horror didn't just improve, it evolved while most big budget films started feeling the same. And you can see it even now with multiple pure horror films lining up for release this May. So what changed? Modern horror isn't trying to scare you every 10 seconds. It's trying to stay with you long after the screen goes black. Films like Hereditary helped redefine horror not as monsters hiding in the dark, but as pain hiding inside people. Take Talk to Me for example. On paper, it's a possession film, but the real story is about a group of teenagers using the supernatural like a drug. The horror isn't just the spirits, it's the way grief and loneliness make the characters keep going back even when they know it's destroying them. Or Smile. Yes, there's an entity. Yes, there are creepy smiles, but what actually makes it disturbing is how it portrays trauma as something invisible, something no one else believes until it consumes you completely. Even X. On the surface, it plays like a classic slasher, but underneath, it's about aging, fading relevance, and the quiet desperation of wanting to be seen, even when the world has moved on. Its prequel, Pearl, pushes that even further, turning loneliness and ambition into something genuinely terrifying. And that's the shift. These films don't rely on what you see in the moment. They rely on what lingers after the scene ends. The biggest shift. Atmosphere is the new jump scare. Look at Longlegs. It doesn't rush to show you the horror. In fact, it holds back. The camera lingers a little too long. The frames feel a little too empty, and your mind starts filling in the gaps. That's what makes it unsettling. You're not reacting to what's there, but to what might be there. Films like The Witch and It Follows proved years ago that atmosphere alone could be terrifying. Or Oddity for that matter. It builds dread through stillness, no loud music cues, no constant movement, and the feeling that something is off, even when nothing is happening. And the substance. The horror isn't just physical, it's internal. It plays with identity, perception, and the discomfort of losing control over your own body. You're not just watching horror, you're experiencing it from inside the character's mind. Even in India, films like Bhoothakaalam and Bramayugam prove that silence can be louder than any scream. They strip away all the excess material. No over-explaining, no forced scares, just pure, creeping tension that builds with every passing second. And internationally, films like Exuma show how horror is becoming more rooted in atmosphere, culture, and psychological unease rather than just shock value. And that's what these films understand. Fear doesn't come from noise. It comes from anticipation, from the slow, unbearable wait for something to happen, even when nothing does. While blockbuster films are getting bigger, horror is getting smarter. Take Late Night with the Devil. It doesn't rely on scale or spectacle. Instead, it traps you inside a late-night talk show and lets the horror unfold in real time. The tension comes from what's slipping through the cracks, the awkward pauses, the forced smiles, the moment you realize something is going very wrong and no one can stop it. Films like Barbarian succeed for the same reason. Not because they are bigger, but because they understand suspense, unpredictability, and audience psychology better than most blockbusters do. Or Wash and its remake, Shaitan. The setup is almost minimal. One house, a handful of characters, but the writing is so tight that every line, every decision adds pressure. There's no escape, no distraction, just pure psychological tension that keeps tightening like a knot. Even The Invisible Man takes a simple idea and stretches it to unbearable levels of paranoia and control. And films like Together or Undertone follow the same pattern: simple, high concept ideas executed with precision and control. They don't try to do everything, they just do one thing exceptionally well. No multiverse, no over explaining, no drowning the audience in lore. Just a strong idea pushed to its absolute limit until it breaks you with it. So why is horror winning right now? Because it's doing something most films have quietly stopped doing. It treats the audience like they are paying attention. It doesn't rush to explain everything. It lets you sit with ambiguity, connect the dots, and feel the story instead of just watching it unfold. Films like The Wailing refuse to hand you easy answers, and that uncertainty becomes part of the horror itself. It trusts slow storytelling, the kind that builds tension layer by layer, instead of throwing constant stimulation at you, the kind where a single moment of silence can hit harder than the loudest climax. And most importantly, it chooses emotion over spectacle. That's why films like Tumbbad still stay with people years later. Because beneath the horror, it's really about greed, obsession, and the cost of never being satisfied. While other genres are busy getting bigger, louder, and more complex, horror is doing the opposite. It's getting quieter, sharper, and more personal. Because in the end, people don't remember how big a movie felt. They remember how it made them feel. And maybe that's the reason why horror is thriving. Because in a world full of noise, it knows when to stay quiet.